Picture the scene. It's the morning of June 13th, Trooping the Color, the most choreographed day on the royal calendar. Every carriage route planned to the minute, every uniform pressed, every wave rehearsed until its instinct. Kate is preparing for one of the most publicly visible days of the year. And then, according to reporting from multiple sources, she and William are told the news. Harry is coming back to the United Kingdom. Meghan is coming with him. Archie and Lilibet are coming. King Charles has not only approved the visit, but has reportedly offered the family a royal residence for the duration of their stay, approved full government security arrangements, and is welcoming his youngest son back with what sources describe as open arms. Hours later, Kate walked out to the Buckingham Palace balcony, stood next to Camilla, smiled at the flypast, and waved at the crowds below. If you watched that footage after learning what she'd been told that morning, her composure looks somewhat different. This is the story that is actually running inside the royal household right now, underneath all the official announcements and carefully worded palace statements. Not the story of Harry's return, not the story of Charles and his grandchildren. The story of what this decision is doing to the two people who were never asked whether they wanted it to happen. Let's start with what we actually know, confirmed across multiple outlets, before we get into the emotional layer that insiders are now describing. Harry and Meghan are coming to the United Kingdom in July. The visit is tied to the Invictus Games countdown event in Birmingham, marking 1 year until the 2027 Games. Harry has confirmed his attendance. Meghan is expected to join him. Their children, Prince Archie, now 7, and Princess Lilibet, now 5, have not been in Britain since the Platinum Jubilee in June 2022, 4 years ago. King Charles has reportedly been the driving force behind making this visit happen. He has offered the family a royal residence, which would mark the first time since their departure from royal life that the Sussexes have had access to crown property. He has reportedly helped facilitate security arrangements, which have been the central practical sticking point on every previous visit Harry has attempted with his family. The specific residence hasn't been publicly confirmed, but the fact of the offer itself tells you something very clear about Charles's priorities right now. Those priorities, according to royal author Tom Sykes writing on his Royalist Substack, are being experienced by William as a betrayal. Sykes wrote that it represents an astonishing betrayal of his loyal and dutiful heir, who has made clear he never wants to see Harry again, believes he should be exiled as far away as possible. He added the detail that has circulated most widely in the days since, that William has told friends he blames the stress of Harry and Meghan's betrayal for aggravating Catherine's cancer. That is an extraordinary claim to have circulating in print, even in an opinion column. William has not confirmed or denied it publicly, but the fact that it's being reported, apparently drawn from people who have spoken to him, tells you something about the state of his mind as this visit approaches. A source speaking to a major outlet put it more plainly. William is so against the whole idea, and Kate can't simply ignore his feelings. She understands why Charles is pushing for reconciliation, and she genuinely believes Harry should have this chance, but it's still hard to stomach the idea of having to play nice with Meghan. It's now causing all this friction between him and his father, because William feels totally betrayed that the king is welcoming her back.
Just hearing Meghan's name can set William off, so naturally that makes Kate worry about him and his stress levels. Think about that phrase for a moment. Just hearing Meghan's name can set William off. This is being described by people around him not in 2020, not in 2022 after the Netflix documentary, not in 2023 after Spare. In June 2026, 6 years after the Sussexes left, after every documentary and every interview and every public statement has already been made and processed and argued about, the name still does that. The wound, whatever its original dimensions, has not healed. And now Charles is inviting the person whose name does that into the family's physical space, offering her a royal residence, and expecting the rest of the family to hold their positions and smile. Now, here is the layer of this story that I think is being significantly underreported. We have been told consistently, across multiple outlets covering the past 2 weeks, that William has made clear he will not see Harry during the July visit. That's confirmed, or as close to confirmed as anything in this family gets. No chance of a meeting, as multiple sources have described it. But what emerged just this week takes that a significant step further. A royal commentator, cited by IB Times UK in coverage published Thursday, stated that William won't let Catherine near Harry either.
That the peace campaign Kate has apparently been quietly running, described by insiders as an attempt to get Harry alone for a conversation to try to talk him into some kind of reconciliation with William, has been shut down by her own husband. An insider described exactly what Kate had been hoping for. She had hoped to get Harry alone for a heart-to-heart, to talk sense into him and encourage him to apologize to William. But that won't happen now, not with Meghan watching over. That sentence contains a lot. Kate wanted to see Harry. She thought she could help. She has, by every account anyone close to her has ever given, a fundamentally different relationship with Harry than William currently has. Softer, more forgiving, more oriented toward finding a path through, rather than slamming the door shut. And now she's been told, apparently by the same man she is married to, that the path is not available to her either. The source described Kate's position in this situation as genuinely difficult, in ways that go beyond simple diplomatic inconvenience. Kate is an incredibly forgiving person, but there has been so much hurt stored up over the years by Meghan. It's impossible for her to simply forget everything and move on overnight. Kate does want to see Harry, and she wants to do whatever she can to help the king, but there's no denying that having Meghan there makes things worlds more complicated for her. If Harry was coming on his own, it would be a very different story. Kate has always had a soft spot for him. It's Meghan's involvement that changes the dynamic completely. To understand why Meghan's presence specifically changes the dynamic for Kate in a way that Harry alone wouldn't, you have to go back through the actual documented history of what has been said and done between these two women. And the list is long enough that running through it even briefly takes a few minutes. The bridesmaid dress incident. You know the story, and you've probably heard 3 different versions of it. Meghan, speaking to Oprah Winfrey in March 2021, said that the widely reported story that she had made Kate cry over the fit of Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress had it backwards. Kate was the one who upset her, Meghan said. Kate later appeared to confirm she had spoken to Meghan about the dresses and had apologized by sending flowers.
Harry, in Spare, described finding Meghan on the floor, in tears, over Kate's insistence that Charlotte wear tights at the last minute and that the dress be altered. The palace has never officially confirmed any specific version of events. What it produced was a story that placed Kate's name and her character at the center of an international media dispute in the week of what should have been purely Harry and Meghan's moment. The racism allegation. In Oprah's interview, Harry and Meghan described a conversation in which a member of the royal family had raised questions about the skin color of their then unborn child, Archie. They declined to name the person on camera. Royal author Omid Scobie, whose book Endgame created a separate firestorm in 2023, was reported to have named specific individuals in a Dutch translation of the book before those names were removed. The story of who asked what about Archie's complexion has never been officially resolved. The palace denied any racism in the institution. Scobie denied that his book named anyone and described the Dutch translation as an editing error. But the allegation itself and the subsequent reporting repeatedly placed Kate's name in proximity to one of the most damaging accusations the Sussexes made. She has never publicly responded to it. She has never been given a clean public exoneration. The story simply sits there, unresolved, in the background of every moment she and Meghan might share the same room. Columnist Amanda Platell captured what a significant portion of the British public appears to feel about this particular aspect of the situation when she wrote this week. How must she feel about the homecoming of grifter Meghan, who has done so much to discredit her, coming back here to be embraced by the king at the heart of the royal family? Not very happy, one would imagine. It would only be human for her to feel slightly betrayed by such a heralded reunion. After all, both Sussexes have been so cruel to her. That is not the palace's official position. It is not something Kate has said publicly, but it is, by every account coming from within her circle, reasonably close to the territory her private feelings occupy. The source described Kate as hurt, not angry, not vindictive, but genuinely wounded in a way that quiet, diplomatic composure has never fully erased. Kate's not bad-mouthing Meghan, but everyone in her inner circle knows what a difficult spot this has put her in. Kate has always risen above the drama, but just because she stayed quiet doesn't mean she hasn't been affected by everything that's happened. And now she is expected to be in the same country, potentially at the same events, as the person her husband can't hear the name of without being affected, for multiple weeks in July. Here is the structural problem that no one inside the palace has figured out how to solve. Charles wants this visit to happen because he is a father who wants to see his son and a grandfather who wants to know his grandchildren. That desire is entirely human and entirely understandable, particularly in the context of a man who has been battling cancer for over 2 years and who is 77 years old and who has not seen Archie and Lilibet in person since 2022.
From his perspective, the visit is simple. Family, time, his grandchildren on British soil. Every other consideration is secondary to that. But from William's perspective, the visit is the opposite of simple. William has spent 6 years dealing with the public fallout of Harry and Meghan's departure. The Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, Spare, every subsequent interview and statement that has kept the wound open and fresh.
He has made clear, through every private communication that has leaked through the usual channels, that he does not want Harry back in any proximity to the institution he is preparing to lead. He has told friends, according to Tom Sykes, that he believes Harry should be exiled as far away as possible. And he has, if the reporting this week is accurate, now extended that position to include his own wife, telling her effectively that her instinct toward reconciliation is not welcome in this situation. Kate is left, as she has been throughout so much of this saga, caught in the middle. She wants what Charles wants. She cannot give William what William wants, because what William wants and what Charles has decided to do are currently incompatible. She is the person in this family with the most diplomatic instincts and the least power to deploy them in the direction she believes they should go. Her peacemaking campaign was apparently real, and it has apparently been shut down by the two men closest to her from two different directions. Charles by making the visit happen in a way that includes Meghan, William by making clear that Kate's proximity to Harry is not acceptable even as a diplomatic gesture. What happens in July is, for the reasons I've laid out, genuinely difficult to predict. Charles will see Harry. That seems the most certain element of the picture. Whether Meghan attends public Invictus-related events and how those are managed is still being worked out. Whether Archie and Lilibet get the private time with their grandfather that apparently motivated the whole visit in the first place depends on logistics that are still being negotiated. What is already certain is that Kate will be in the UK throughout the visit, that William will be in the UK, and that neither of them will be in the same room as Harry if William has anything to say about it. And Kate will manage it the way she manages everything. Publicly, with composure. With the particular kind of controlled professionalism that has led people to describe her, repeatedly and accurately, as the most steady person in the institution. She stood on that balcony on June 13th, hours after being told this news, and she waved and smiled for the cameras and gave nothing away. She will do the same in July. And behind that composure, according to the people who know her best, is a woman who is worried about her husband's mental state, hurt by years of public accusations she has never been able to properly address, conflicted about a situation she wanted to help fix and has now been told to stay away from, and anxious about what July is going to mean for all of them. The source put it plainly. She had hoped to get Harry alone for a heart-to-heart. That won't happen now. Kate has always been good about keeping her own feelings in check and focusing on the bigger picture, which is exactly what she intends to do this time around. But there's no doubt Meghan's presence is going to completely change the atmosphere. That sentence, change the atmosphere, is doing a lot of work. The atmosphere it's referring to is already, by every account available, not a simple one. It is the atmosphere of a family where one man is dying to see his son. Another man cannot hear his brother's name without reacting. A woman who has been publicly accused of racism and making another woman cry is about to arrive at events the first woman will also be attending. And the one person who might have been able to navigate all of that has apparently been told by her own husband to stay out of it. Whatever July looks like, it will not look like reconciliation. It will not look like the family that smiled together on the Buckingham Palace balcony in 2018. It will look like what it is, a family that has been through something genuinely brutal, trying to occupy the same physical space for the first time in years, held together by one old man's desire to see his grandchildren, and pulled apart by everything that has happened since they last stood in the same room. Kate will smile. William will stay away. Charles will hold Archie and Lilibet for the first time in 4 years, and Meghan will be there, in Britain, for the first time since the late Queen's funeral. And the atmosphere, as the source predicted, will be exactly as complicated as that sounds.